finished a scarf. I finished a scarf. I called it Stark Scarf for any of my got babies. Stark Scarf. Stark Scarf. I didn't record me finishing this or me making it at all. This was actually a project I was doing while out and about a lot. I can see how 1 minute of recording here and there can't hurt. Okay, there's the reason why there's like a really obvious indent in the middle is because I originally made the scarf just half of this size. So it was originally supposed to be like this. When I made the first snowflake, I was like, oh, the snowflake is way bigger than the scarf. For some reason, instead of actually adding on to this, I made another one. Oh, I know why I did that. When I originally thought I was gonna make it this size, I already cut the yarn and I left it home. But then I brought the yarn out with me to the cafe and I was like, oh, I might as well make the other half of the side. So that's what I ended up doing. Not careful with stitching things together. It looks like this. Crocheting is just a progress as much as it is like results. I haven't decided to block it at all, but I know I want to, and I don't like how it looks like that. But at the same time, I do. It kind of looks unique that it's just like a random. Good thing there's so much room to decide. If I wanted to leave it like this, okay. If I wanted to block it, I eventually will. I love her so much. I love the little tassels. Look at that. Can we just take a moment to see the snowflakes? I didn't even really show y'all. Cute little snow around it. I scalloped the border. Oh, this took a week and a half if I include how long it took the snowflakes. Happy. During this time too, it was when I was at cafes a lot. My roommate had been sick that week. I had the car gratefully. Projects I actually wanted to show y'all what I'm working on is, if y'all remember the cardigan that I just made, making basically the same one, black. I don't have any black staples of my crochet yet. I am gonna do a really fun twist to it. Love very low cut V's. Also have a sternum tattoo. So I like to have low cut V's because then you can see the top of the neck, top of the snake and the moon. It's like that, it's like sexy. I'm gonna learn how to do buttons and then put buttons on that cardigan. The way that the cardigan still kind of like is flimsy on me, want just buttons to secure it. This is the back panel, right? I originally made this part for the sleeve. Look how long, like my arm is not even this long. It's gonna be the back panel instead. It's much longer for my back, but it's giving like oversized. Other cardigan, the back piece is long, but this is longer. I'm gonna see how I play with this. Have one sleeve down. It was so funny when my hands were cold yesterday. I just had like this sleeve while I was crocheting. Nice warm. And then I switched it to the other arm and I was like, yes. See? Make things that are super practical. I got these two pieces. That's why I decided to make this a video was because I actually ran out of yarn right now before 10 a.m. I'm planning to be home all day. I'm anticipating to get paid tomorrow, I think. It's okay, patience is a virtue. This is as far as I got for the next sleeve. Did 44 rows to start, the length, going up, or is that the width? The width, going upwards. So far, I stopped at 33 rows. For the oversized poof sleeve of this one, I did a total of, actually so close. I did a total of 35. I originally made it 44, but the other cardigan, see, I'm learning from my other cardigan, was 44 rows to go upwards, but it's really poofy, the first cardigan. But I'm like, I can lower the poof a little bit. So that's what I did for this one. Oh, I didn't realize how close it actually was for me to close it soon. Yay. Get another jumbo black yarn to finish the sleeve and then do the front panels, cleaning it up. The detail and the challenge of this project is gonna be, I have leftover rainbow yarn that I actually wanted to keep using. I'm gonna use a little bit of this white yarn, the snowflake white yarn as well. A snow detail, little flips of snow here and there. The yarn is getting tangled. No! Worst. Don't want your yarn pile to get tangled. You don't. You don't. If you're someone like me who sees too much like is getting stuck, oh, I get so stimulated and overwhelmed. I hate it. What I'm actually gonna do with this rainbow yarn, when I say I love astrology, I'm gonna put every zodiac's icon on here. I even remember the Leo's constellation off by heart, but I remember the icon. I'm gonna put all the zodiacs on here. I thought since I ran out of the black yarn, I'm gonna actually test myself today. This is gonna be a challenge because it's like drawing with yarn. I have done something similar before where I've done lettering. I can do it, but it's just gonna be like my artistic way of like, oh, how am I gonna put these on? I actually thought I was gonna start the rainbow part when I finish this all. Why not start now? The back panel finishing up is actually perfect because that can fit most of it. Leo sun, Libra rising, Scorpio moon somewhere. I don't know. I saw something that said my main planet was actually the moon because of Cancer midheaven, and a Cancer Mars. I have a Leo sun, Mercury, and Lilith. Libra is rising, North Node, and Chiron. A lot of my story lately has been centering around Leo and Libra themes. I love Scorpio energy too so much. While I do that, I'm gonna spill tea about horror hookup stories. Why the fuck not? As I get into the groove of even drawing this on, I think it's gonna need a lot of focus. So I'm just gonna come back with updates until I get black yarn again. To preface this whole thing, I'll just share the first horror hookup story that's on my mind right now that I actually mentioned in my previous crochet video where I was like, oh, there was something that happened after Aquarius, but this will introduce my hookup stories. Yes, that story is this one right now. Let's go. To keep using the astrology theme, I will refer to these guys as their astrological signs as well. I do share similar ones, similar zodiacs to the guys in my previous crochet video, but these guys are different. They're all different hookup people. I know. While we're at it, you want me to share my body count right now? Not that it actually matters. Like, I actually feel no shame about it. I feel nothing towards it. Oh, they were all experiences, vibes, learning experiences too. I remember all their names, so I like to actually remember how many people. This is not new because I've shared this so many times, but I lost my virginity at 14. I didn't have a hoe phase though until about 23. Even in that hoe phase, there was like 3 or 4 people. What the fuck is even reasonable? It doesn't matter. It truly doesn't even fucking matter. The only reason why I'm sharing it is because I just want to share it. I've been so impressed by hearing some numbers. I had this one roommate, they still hold the record because wow, I've never heard of anyone in triple digits. That's why I don't judge. Not to say that's impressive as in like a conquering thing, but for me, I just can't imagine that for myself. But I'm not shading. It's just like, whoa, that's impressive. I didn't even know you had that much time. No shame. But let me tally. I will share everyone that was not even like situationship talking status. I'll actually share everyone within these last 3 years that I've been single. Call myself out even more. Why the fuck not? The way my face was like, oh, that one. Some like I actually forgot until now, and I was like, oh, whoa. He's gonna be a horror one for sure. Oh, I forgot about that fucker. I am currently at 24. People, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh. Ones that I was like, oh, forgot about that. Those ones I'm gonna definitely include, but those ones happened before.
Oh, wow. Wow.
They're gonna be mentioned. Maybe I might cap my horror hookups at like 3. I'm just gonna share one before I jump into the icons, and then I'll update you on the icons, what they look like. The next story will sound a little bit more refined. This one is a little bit all over the place because I didn't even know I was gonna record this today. Thank you for watching the chaos. That is me. We're gonna refer to him as Taurus. Y'all, we started talking maybe a couple weeks after things had ended officially with Pisces and ended with Aquarius. I wasn't talking to anybody. I downloaded Bumble. I just wanted someone to chat with, flirt with. I knew at this point I wasn't even trying to have a relationship, but I knew I wanted some kind of attention like that. Taurus and I match, talk for almost the whole night. He actually was finishing work at 4 in the morning and I was still up. He picked me up the first day that we matched. This is how impulsive I used to be. This is actually not new. I felt like we talked enough for me to... What got me and why I was just like, oh, maybe he could be a little different. What we were talking a lot about was astrology. It got me. I was like, oh, he's the first person who's acknowledging like astrology and is just letting me talk about it. This is how I used to get into really bad limerence, y'all. Bad that I would let myself have these really bad hookup stories in hopes that like someone just wanted to be with me. Okay? I knew this was not going to be that way, but my mind, when I'm by myself sometimes, it does that. I've learned your brain does that. Like with limerence, you don't think it's going to happen, and then when you're kind of like yearning for an emotion, your mind tries to click it with a memory, and then it does some like fantasy thing. It was way before I knew what limerence was. We hooked up that night. I should have known from that event that I didn't want to do it again because it wasn't fun for me. Someone just was completely new to it. Felt like he was super sensitive for everything. How it ended was just so unpleasant. First of all, very fast. For me, if you're gonna finish fast, like expect around 2. The fuck? You didn't even like, I wasn't even close to finishing and you're just expecting not around 2. That's not fun. That was exactly what happened that night. No round 2. A 5-minute thing, and then he was like, okay, let's just go to bed now. The morning it happened again, but I just felt like it was just so awkward. It was just so awkward. Sexual chemistry was not matching at all. Like a lot more action and passion. His vibe was more like, let's just enjoy the flow of this slowest river you can ever go on. And then would finish still in 5 minutes. I'm just like, even in the morning it was still fast. So I was like, okay. He dropped me off, but that wasn't the horror start. This wasn't the horror part. You would think after knowing I had a bad experience, knowing that the chemistry wasn't the same, that I would just be like, yeah, we're not, right? No, because I was so fucking low-key desperate for any kind of connection. We hung out again. Week after, did the same thing, picked me up after work at 4. When he picked me up that night, oh my god, this is actually embarrassing for me. I was in kind of an outfit. When I went to his place, I was dancing, putting on a fucking show. All we did that day, pleasure for him. That's it. Still finished. He still finished in 5 minutes from that. That was it. It was bedtime. We woke up and he was like, yeah, I gotta go somewhere. I was already angry at myself for coming back, angry at myself, and low-key at him for like, what the fuck did I even come over for? We didn't even have a mutual exchange of anything. It was just about you. And now you don't want to drive me home? Y'all, the walk of shame that I did home, I was so pissed off. I didn't even think of Ubering. I thought his place was relatively close to mine. Like, I thought it was closer than it was. It took me 2 hours to walk home. It was so hot that day. I was carrying a lot. Pissed off. I didn't have my weed with me. I was so mad. I was so angry at myself. I was like, why the fuck did I do that? Oh, why did I make myself feel even worse after the Aquarius and Pisces guys? Like, what the fuck? Here's someone who's treating me like thing, and I'm completely letting him. Like, why did I see him twice? And it was just so much like shaming of myself. This is before I knew how to emotionally regulate as well. Having a hard time accepting this. I was low-key glad the walk home was 2 hours. Fuck me and my choices. Why am I letting these guys have the easiest access to me and the ways I have fun sexually, and they're the most boring motherfuckers on this planet? What the fuck? My self-worth and my view of it. You know, as I'm talking, I really hope that this makes at least one person feel better about their sexual choices. I feel like there's so much shame towards sex in itself. And when you have like these stories and these choices, it's worse because it's like you are at your most vulnerable. It isn't a light choice. Like, so many people that want to gaslight saying sex is not a big deal, but energetically it is. Even if you want to mentally say it isn't, even if you want to physically say it isn't, it energetically is a big deal. It took me a very, very long time to realize that through a lot of people. And you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna be a space to feel comfortable. Like, oh, okay, you know what? There was someone else who went through shitty stories like me. I'll be that space. Get ready for a lot more stories because there's a lot. I just wanted to preface this one because this was like my first one technically since my relationship of a horror hookup. No shade to this guy engaging in a more romantic way. I definitely knew this was a lustful thing. Wish it was a bit more respectful. Fuck. But I just would take away from it. I disrespected myself a lot in that connection. Just because I already knew from the first engagement how shitty it was. And then I went back. Like, that's on me. Almost like because I already knew how bad it was and I went back, that was almost karma for me to me being like, you knew it was shitty and you're going back. Here's a even shittier experience with him. I'm gonna go put rainbow on this now and go hug myself. Okay, update from when I said I was nervous. Honestly, as soon as I put Aries on, it built my confidence so fast. Look at Aries. Aries. It looks like a cute IUD. Look at them beside each other. Made Taurus actually way bigger than Aries. This is like the first time I've done a circle. I just went with the size. I was like, oh, you know what? Taurus is gonna be huge. All right. To think about how I wanted to portion all the zodiacs. Wanted them to have some kind of significance for the placements. Front panels, I'm gonna put Libra, Leo. Sleeves, I thought of putting the other zodiacs that are in my other planets. I did Gemini on this one. First one on a sleeve. My Venus is in Gemini. I really feel like a lot of my love language is talking. If you talk to me a lot, you will feed my love language. Cancer has 2 circles, so let's try to keep them small. Gemini is meant to be looked at like this. Make the Cancer this way. Then I thought, then I feel like it would be a little confusing. Next sign I'm gonna do after this is actually gonna be Virgo. I wanna start the back panel like as different zodiacs, so not in complete order. I'm gonna try to talk about the next horror hookup as I do this next circle. Why am I already thinking it's not gonna go well? What the fuck? Let's just go. Pull up my notes so my thoughts aren't so disorganized. I did put a draft in my notes because I didn't like how unorganized I was mentioning the last one. I'm just hard on myself, okay? I don't know if that's even hard on yourself. Or is that like a certain standard thing? It's about to be like, don't judge my hair. What is happening with me right now? Sin. I would consider as an actual horror hookup. I was living in my car. I know, a lot of y'all are probably like, what the fuck? Why would you do that while you're living in your car? I'm being super for real. I was getting bored. One of the ways that I used to fix my boredom was those dating apps. We're gonna refer to this guy as Aquarius. Different Aquarius than the last video. Though what was actually freaky, y'all, When I saw him in person, mind you, okay, for painting a picture, the Aquarius in my previous video is Asian. He's Filipino. This Aquarius is white. When I saw him in person, it's basically like the Asian one's doppelganger. What the fuck? Like, they were almost the same height, same build, same haircut, had glass. What the fuck? They did different things for jobs. That part I was like, oh my gosh. Because Aquariuses are so different from each other. There was also a streak of weeks closer to the end of my homeless journey where I just wanted to believe in myself again. One of the ways that I found confidence back then was through guys. Okay, let's just fucking, I know, okay? I know a lot of people can unfortunately relate in this patriarchal society. This was, I could have been more careful with myself. In my head, I thought that if I told the guys that I was homeless, that would just be low-key a social experiment because I wanted to see who would be down. I wanted to be real. Like, I really wanted to just be honest. I didn't want to pretend like I had my shit together when I really didn't. And I know that's really not even a time to be, you know, looking for people in that kind of way. Back then, I just felt like I spent way too much time alone all the time. In total of the car time of living in my car, I did go on 2 dates. He was the second one. The first one was a really cute, wholesome, let's just eat and talk. Actually ended so awkward. Got a little bit lit and his stomach started to hurt. Like, I walked him to his car. Weird. I'm just grateful that he drove from Mississauga to Hamilton. Back to Aquarius. He was in Toronto. I drove to him. I remember recording this day on my original ever TikTok account, which is still up. I just don't know how to log back into it. With 15K. I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this. Circle is so much more like, you can tell it's a circle on one side. This side feels like it's forced. See, it's okay to keep doing it over. You need to sometimes. You know when you're trying to do something symmetrical and you're like, what the fuck? I was recording this day, get ready with me while I go on a date being homeless. I got multiple reactions towards that. Totally fair. I understand why. I'm not gonna like be like, they should have just seen it. No, I can understand why I had multiple things. A lot of people were like, why is that a priority for you right now? You're homeless. And I was like, bruh, I'm just trying to have fun, okay? I know I'm homeless. This date is not going to change me being homeless. I'm not hurting anyone. And these guys know my situation. It's not like I'm trying to trap them, which someone did say. They're like, oh, that's her next plan. I was like, let me live. I put lashes on in a public washroom. Wore my nicest summer casual outfit. Hot as fuck that day. This was while I also had a cast on. Like, I don't even know. Of course it would be an Aquarius to go on a date with someone. Like, what the fuck is happening with them? I'm so grateful, honestly. Talking out loud, I'm like, wow. Cast on, getting ready, public washrooms, driving an hour out of my city to him while I lived in my car. We met at a restaurant, and you know what's so weird? I didn't even notice that I left my phone in my car the whole day. The whole time I was with him, even stayed over the night. When we met at the restaurant, we stayed there for a couple hours. He knew the owners. Not surprising because his apartment was actually like upstairs from the restaurant we met at. I'm not gonna complain at the same time. I almost had more conversation and an easier time with the restaurant owner than him. The only thing Aquarius and I had in common that night was that we were both intoxicated. Since that was the vibe, I did mention that I stayed over and all that stuff. Yeah, we got into it really quickly. Watching The Grudge. There's literally Grudge scenes in the background as it was happening, and I don't know, it was just so fucking fun. Experience in itself was, let me rate it. Giving Jackrabbit. This is my last night to ever. So let me just I'm not gonna say I had beer goggles to him. I feel like I was attracted to him, but I wasn't mentally attracted to him. If it wasn't for like me being litty, I don't think I would have gone for it at all. What even sucked even more, I got instant karma for this. A day later, I got a UTI. That was when I learned a whole home remedy from TikTok of using baking soda with water and then any kind of flavoring that you want. At that time, I just mixed it with my juice, but mixing baking soda with anything is nasty. I told him about it and he really could give less of a fuck. He was just like, that sucks. The way he replied so plainly to the UTI, it really made me question. I was like, why do I keep having sex with people who don't care about me? I told him I deserve more than that. I don't want to talk to him anymore. First, he didn't want to end it so quickly, but then when I was like, so you're gonna drive down to Hamilton? Oh, he quickly let it go. Asking for effort is such a great repellent. Y'all, the UTI was actually so bad. Got to the point of bleeding. Man, why do I keep doing this to myself? As I was sitting on the toilet during the pain, I really like, this is my karma for treating myself like shit. Most of this pain was at the Bayfront public washroom. Couldn't even be far 10 minutes from it without feeling like I needed to pee. And that's the part that really sucks about UTIs, you know? It like birds and you always feel like you have to pee, even though when you like go, it's just like a drip, but it's a painful drip. And oh my God, I don't wish UTIs on anybody. The fucking worst. Thankful that the cure of baking soda worked instantaneously though. I've had UTIs before, especially bleeding ones, and I've seen them to go longer than a day sometimes. Baking soda cured it within the day. I went to sleep okay, no worries. Like I had to keep drinking it the next day and the next day to make sure it was actually gone. Because there was a moment where I was like, okay, it's gone, I don't need to drink anymore. And then it like came back in the morning and I was like, okay, instantly drank it again and went away again. If you don't want to drink baking soda, don't get a UTI. If you do have a UTI, drink baking soda, babes. It works, trust me. I'm grateful that this reminded me and brought on empowerment to myself. When I said that I didn't want to see him anymore, that was a big thing for me too. Be like, bro, you don't care. I'm out. That was big, especially for me to cut it right away and tell the other person why. That's when I did leave things really fast. I wouldn't even tell them the reason. This time I was like, no, it's because I don't feel human to you. I didn't delete the apps, but I didn't try to go on a date again until I had some place to consistently sleep. This is the only time I tried to be adventurous in that kind of way during car days, but I learned really fast not to do that. I didn't want to go through that kind of thing again. Y'all, I actually really like it. I actually thought I was gonna make these icons smaller. When I'm doing an oversized sweater like this, why not make it big? I don't even know why I said make it smaller, because when I did the Aries one, oh, I think I made this too small. Just trying to be conscious of how many signs there are. 2 can go on here. I filled out the whole side. It's so cute. You guys, it's so cute. And you know what's gonna be a cuter thing? I'm not just gonna leave it like this. Sparkles in the background. Looks a little bit off. So yeah, I'm not gonna forget the stars. I am stalling just a little bit. I like doing the icon part, preferably in cafes. I feel like when I'm at cafes, the focus goes different, intentional. I don't want to just get up and randomly do things or stop a lot or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's not like I didn't make any of the icons in the house on the bed. I don't know, maybe I'm just making an excuse. Enjoyed that the last time I brought the icons to do outside the house, I did 4. Whereas just inside the house, I did 1 at a time. Saving the rest of the icons for when I'm out at the cafes. Look at my hair. I was gonna work on the rest of the cardigan while I'm at home. Just finished the rest of the cardigan, which I'm not complaining about. But you know what's really hilarious? I just recently watched a crochet artist who's explaining how she bought two different type of white yarn. One said like white, the other one said cream. Oh man, that's something I totally would do. Guess what I did that same day? Same day, I did the same thing. Here's my excuse. It was the day before Thanksgiving. Joann's closed early, and that's where I got all my yarn before. I never went to Michael's, I think because we don't have a Joann's in Canada. I always thought I was like, oh, might as well go to one that's not in Canada because Michael's is in Canada. Oh, that's not new. They have so many more options, nicer options too. Uh-oh. Just from this switch, Joann's lost a customer because I really like the yarn that's at Michael's if I'm gonna go for a more affordable vibe. There are yarn places aren't from commercial stores specifically for yarn textile work. I love them. It's just a budget. Also, now that I don't have access to the car right now, it's just super out of the way. What can hurt? I'm gonna find the same type of black yarn. How many different types of black yarn are there? I did the same thing as the crochet artist I was watching, except with her, it was white. With me, it was black. So I'm like, fuck. You see, it's obvious. It's so obvious. Look at that. Look at that. A huge thing about me, I actually don't give a fuck. This would bother a lot of people. I can actually see this. For me, I don't care that much. Because I know why it's like this, and I know my intention. It's a funny. I'm gonna put the icons on this side. I am gonna cover it. It doesn't bother me to redo it and get the same type of yarn, but I don't know how I'd feel about just like it being so obvious because this is the only sleeve that has like this random, and it's just a random part of the darker black. The thing is, I still needed to do the front panels with the new yarn. That means these are darker than the rest of the cardigan. The front is gonna be darker than the back. With that, we like two-tone. That could kind of look intentional. If people ask me, I'm like, yeah, that was so intentional. Rainbow stars. That's what's gonna fill the space. Here's the back. Oh my gosh. It looks so fun. This looks so unique. This is so awesome. These signs, these zodiacs are not really in my chart too heavily. I changed the Aries. The Aries was my first one I put on here, and it originally was like the smallest thing ever. Then I did Taurus, and look at how big Taurus is. Aquarius, and I was like, oh shit, now I'm making these really big. That's when I ultimately decided, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make these all really big. There's 6 in the back, 2 on the sleeve, there will be 2 on the other sleeve, and 1 on each panel. Leo, Libra. Once all the icons are on, then I'm gonna stitch the pieces together. So much more convenient for me to like flip it as a one-piecer for right now. Also, here's another oops. I noticed this oops, and I'm not gonna change it. For me, because I'm still baby in terms of crocheting clothes, I'm not even going to be hard on myself. When I make mistakes like this, like the two-tone thing, the size, whatever, it's just a learning for my next time I make a cardigan. This is not going to be my last cardigan. I already know I changed how I wanted to view the cardigan compared to the last one I made. They're all a little bit different, but you can kind of see that. So this one I did second. I actually love the decrease on this so much. I think it's actually very ideal for what I was going for. This is the second one. So can you see how it's like a clear definition of boop, boop, right? Love it. The first panel doesn't give that. I know what I did. I know what I did here. I wasn't consistent with how much I was actually decreasing. Here, I was making sure I was very consistent. Here, I don't think I was. I'm gonna go with it anyways. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm really excited to see them all together though. You know what I started to do last night because I finished with doing the icons. I just have to hunch over. It's like I'm drawing with the yarn, the lines. But when I'm trying to really relax and become a noodle, I just want to lay back and not think, just vibes, just crochet. Like my right before bed. So I started a new project. I'm going to show that real quickly, but maybe it might be part of this video. I'm not too sure yet. I actually feel like I might finish it really soon. Bolero. For anyone that didn't know what that word was, I didn't know what that word was before like 3 months ago. But I'm making a bolero. Look at the yarn. I'm using acrylic yarn again. Budget. I was trying to find something really fast because my roommate was waiting in the car, and I don't like when people wait on me for a long time, even if people are like, take your time. I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate when people wait on me because it makes me feel like I can't take my time. You're telling me I can take my time, but I don't want you to wait for me. I'm someone who shops alone. I'm a big lone shopper. If I'm being honest, I don't want to be mindful about someone else's slowness or fastness, and I only want to be in my own zone. When it comes to yarn, it actually takes a long time. When I was just going into Michael's, my only intention was to get the big jumbo black yarn, but they were having a sale of buy 3 yarns, get 1 free. If I bought like a small one like this, it's gonna be within the budget. I'm gonna be able to just get one of these ones for free, the small one. With that fast thinking, it was just like a lot of spontaneous thoughts. And I'm like, okay, what can I make with this? What can I make with the color? And it was sort of like, I knew I wanted to make a bolero after the cardigan. Quick thinking for the color. Green is my favorite color. Okay, let me just fucking make a green one. I like this pattern. It's a cute stripe one. I've heard acrylic not be favorites, and I can understand why, but I think because acrylic yarn is the only yarn I've actually worked with ever since I started crocheting 2 years ago, like almost a familiarity for me to just grab it. I do want to explore more high vibration yarns eventually, definitely soon, but we're just gonna take it one step at a time. I'm not gonna pressure myself. And like I said, this was within the budget. Each one of these was $3. This is the start of the bolero. This is gonna be one of my first things that has like holes like this for clothes. A bolero is like it's like half of a long sleeve. It stops right here. The sleeves are gonna be fully crocheted, your neck hole and up to here kind of thing. Sorry. That is the best I could give. I'm really enjoying making this so far though. I will be back once the icons are all put on. As I'm stitching the pieces together, that's when I'll share my last horror hookup for this video. Y'all, we're finally at the end. All the pieces are together. All the icons are on. I'm so excited to show you, share this last story. Record, create. We're gonna call this last one Cancer. I had a series of water signs. My 6-year relationship is a Scorpio. The flings were water signs after him, and my most recent ex was is a Cancer. Damn, they really wanted me to cry. Universe was like, cry. They sent me all these men to make me cry. The sigh. The universe has its ways. When you're a stubborn Leo, I could turn off my feelings for sure. No, I can't. As a Leo, that's the worst thing you can do to yourself. Not self-express. Genuinely. This was around New Year's 2022 when we started talking. In between Pisces from the last video ghosting me. At this point, I hadn't heard from him for almost a month. So I was like, let me just find someone new type of vibe. I was still going through it with my ex and roommate. I wanted distractions. At this point, I knew I didn't want to get into a relationship for sure. Dating apps was my go-to place to make myself feel better. That dopamine hit of swipe, ooh, match. With Cancer, our first combos right off the bat were lusty, hot, and heavy. I was super down until the next day. I literally had a moment, did shrooms by myself, stayed in fetal position on my bed for 5 hours straight, crying. It was my first time ever doing it alone, but I just had the biggest urge to want to do it alone, and I did 1.5 grams for anyone who knows. I did it intentionally to find a blockage with my brain. It literally felt like my mind was so congested, but I couldn't figure out what the main worry was or what the main problem could have been. I'm fucking anxious all the time and I don't understand. I know I'm getting in my own way mentally. Every time I do shrooms, it's always a fun ego death for me. That's what I was going for. I like asking Mama Shroom for help when I'm stuck. I'm not suggesting this for anyone else to do when they're stuck, you know, use your own discernment. I'm just saying this was my experience and I had my own intentions. I've done a couple alone. It gives a purpose of uncovering or rediscovering more of my mind. I find when I'm doing it around people, it's more about the vibe of everyone together. I'm more conscious that, oh, I have people around me, and my focus isn't so much on getting deeper and deeper into my mind. It's more of getting deeper into my surroundings, which is nice. When I'm around people, not be able to look at them, and I'll have to like look somewhere else, get into like really deep looking somewhere else, because I love consuming enough to like have visuals. It's just so fun. I've never tried micro shrooming. That would be for me at this point. Fast forward to the next morning. Whenever the roommates are upstairs while I'm recording, I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't feel like I can fully express how I want to as a record because I genuinely feel like they're just listening to me. By the end of this shroom trip, it just felt so loud that I was trying to distract myself through guys. I became completely turned off on the idea of meeting anyone in that state. I didn't want to ghost people myself, so I told Cancer about my little revelation, and he was really cool about it. Since it kind of felt like we were vibing, at least on a friendly way, we exchanged social medias as I deleted Tinder. That day, I actually cried on my story about my revelation and other things that were on my mind. He watched it, which was fine because he also followed up with writing this huge ass paragraph as a reply to one of my stories. It felt so comforting at the time that not only was someone watching me be sad, but they were reaching out their comfort. He was also like, I know we're not expecting anything of each other, but just as a human, I send you empathy. Just relating with his own story as well. And then we just had conversation for a couple days. Felt really friendly. We were talking about our stories and then it turned into talking about our days. Then it became a flirty again. And he asked me out on a date. This time it didn't give a lusty preface. He was genuinely like, let's go on a date. So I was like, okay, sure. I liked how it turned into a wholesome thing. He did live in Toronto while I was in Hamilton. I did drive. He didn't drive. He was just coming back from America. When you honestly are in Toronto, sometimes you really don't need a car. And he didn't know if he was gonna stay long in Toronto. Also, I didn't fucking care at that time that these guys didn't have cars. I have a car. The thing with me driving though is that I get to leave whenever I want. That is another huge reason why back then I took the initiative to be the driver. If I want to be alone, I want to be alone. I could just leave. If I had to rely on them for the ride, I don't want to. I hate relying on other people for rides in general. Later on in the evening time, which was great because it was after traffic, went to a Japanese spot that I've never tried before. Genuinely a cute date. Just remember ordering wasabi octopus because at one point I was just so nervous. Wasabi octopus. And then when it came to the table, he's like, do you like that? We had like a huge Sapporo thing each. For those who ever drank Sapporo in restaurants, like they give the really big option at some places. Yeah, we had that. We were like halfway by the time the food came because I was so nervous that I chugged the beer. Like obviously, no, I don't like that. This is the first time I'm ever having it, and he's like, we just laughed about it, and that's a memorable part of the date because I'm just so used to being around people who shame me for just anything. Low-key, I was like, oh, fuck, it's gonna make me feel bad because he's obviously gonna pay for this date. And I just ordered something so random. But he laughed it off and he's like, I'll try it with you. So we tried it together. And we both didn't like it, but we finished it. After we ate, I had it in my head that I wanted to spend time outside because something about me is I get just so hot when I'm litty. When I reach a certain point, I'm just like so warmed up and I hate it. It's so uncomfortable. It was during the winter time, so I was like, let's go to Lakeshore, which is by the water. There was already snow very much on the ground. He was down. We ended up playing a little bit on the ice, close to the water that had ice on it. We were like pretty cold. It's time to end off the night. Drove him to his house, but by that time it was already 1 a.m. He was like, it's really late. We're both cold. Still a little litty. You down to like stay over? I didn't even think twice. I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way I want to drive home right now. Be an anticipate like 45-minute drive. No. He was really sweet. He was really cuddly. Made me feel comfortable in his room. When we did it, it was actually a surprise to me. No shade on sizes, okay? I'm just saying, if you know you a little bit small in that area, I feel like a lot of the other things should be accounted for. Foreplay, pleasing the girl, motion of the ocean real good, a bit of other things you can have strengths at. This one was almost like it happened as soon as I felt some motion, it was done. It's finished. Wow, I didn't even come close. Just noticed, and then you finished. Fuck. I barely felt any excitement before he said he finished. That's the sad part. I was disappointed for sure. Only because of how much he talked of a game when we were talking on Tinder. I was expecting that. He was giving big dig energy hearts. Okay. Next morning, we did start our day with it too. Doing it sober this time. Oh no. Giving starfish, and he was giving 2 minutes. Driving home felt like the drive of shame. A 45-minute drive, I was like reflecting on my actions. Got really sad because of how well we actually ended up getting along. After leaving, the energy shifted in what this was gonna be like. We weren't gonna see each other again, and it was already giving that. It was another shameful thing I was feeling. Fuck. Let him have it, and it was so fucking disappointing. Fuck. After all of this. Though as soon as I got back into the house, reminded myself of the shroom trip I had, and it just felt like a big learning lesson. Like I kind of just sat with it and I'm like, fuck. Just fuck. I didn't want to make myself feel more bad, considering how bad I was making myself feel during the drive. By the time I got to the house, I was like, okay, it happened. It happened. Don't want to do that again. Fuck that. Fuck that. Hope y'all enjoyed the 3 hookup stories. As I was telling it, was starting to feel like, oh, these are actually not that bad. I know as it was happening, and even a little bit after that, I remember feeling the shame and just fuck of it. And if it doesn't sound like a crazy big deal, I remember it was a big deal for me during the time. So I validate that for myself. I do mention these stories since they are big learning lessons for me. Be so available to people who really don't deserve it like that. Unfortunately, there are more stories for me to learn this lesson. It's okay. It's all fun and games in life, you know? It's all learning experiences. We shouldn't ever really judge or compare, because how we end up learning our lessons in life is so unique. That's why there's no point in comparing. It's so much better to give sympathy and understanding. Even if you might not learn self-worth lessons through sex like me, okay, you might learn self-worth lessons a lot differently in a lot of different ways. I know that there are a lot of people who relate to me having a lot of self-worth lessons through sex. Fuck it. Fuck it. This is for me and us. This is for me and us. Also, here's an update of the cardigan. As we're finishing the 3 stories, look, here's the back. Here's the back. Oh, I love how the bottom cinches in, like it curves in. That's actually what I wanted. Do that by creating a longer back panel. I don't know if that's obvious to some people. That wasn't obvious to me in the beginning. The front, it looks a little crazy when I'm not wearing it, because you can actually see the back panel, or the back panel's backing. In another perspective, it looks like constellations. It still kind of follows the theme. Even though it looks kind of crazy, I'm gonna think of it like that. The front here, it has a cute attached bottom. I don't know how to share that. We got a huge Leo in the front, big Libra on the other front. See the black differences, 2 tones. That was intentional. Try it on right now though, real quickly. So yeah, oh gosh, please do not undo your work. This is me. When I do my clothes, I'm like, let me try it on, and then I undo like a whole row because I forgot. I did put the sleeve icons on the inner side. That was a little bit my bad. I would follow a theme if it was on the outer side, right? Kind of cute because it's like bam. This reminds me of, oh fuck, one scene in Hercules, the animation, where Hercules makes it onto the town square. This is when he's gaining his power. There's someone who's like all sketchy and stuff with his cloak, and he's like, you want to buy a sun something, a sun catcher? No, a sundial. Fuck, it was like something to tell the time back then. And then he's like, poof. Ooh, she kind of looks a little, what? Ooh, she feels a little bit weird. It's okay, we're not gonna think about it too much. The sleeve, oh, because the sleeve wasn't even on my shoulder. Oh, I see where my cardigan, oh my gosh, my cardigan's actually so much more bigger than I realized. The shoulder part wasn't where my shoulder was. Why does that feel weird? And then I put it on and oh, it really, actually needed to try this on because I wanted to see how far I was making this bring everything into the middle. Oh my gosh, this is actually so cute. The bottom is giving like a cropped feel like I kind of wanted. To paint the picture of what I was trying to do down here, if y'all can't see it as clearly as I'm trying to say it, you're gonna just see it much better when I actually stand up and try this on when it's fully finished. By painting the picture, I like wearing sweatpants that have the cinch around the ankle. I'm short. I like that because even when it cinches at the bottom, the rest of the pant falls down anyways, so it looks like it's not a cinched sweatpant for me. It looks like it's just like a straight leg. For me, my ankles feel comforted because now there's a cinch and it's covered. Props of being a short girl. I don't hem a lot of my pants, just leave it. When I look for sweatpants, I definitely look for the cinch because no matter how small these sweatpants are, the length is still too big for me. But I don't hem. Not to say I don't hem, but I haven't hemmed any of my clothes before. More of the push into the middle. I want this like really, really baggy into the front. So cinched down here that the bottom's really pulled. So fucking cute. I'm so proud of myself, for real. Oh, this is gonna look so good. The back is the lighter black, and then the sleeves are mostly lighter black, and then the front panel is mainly the dark one. But I kind of like it. It looks cool. It looks super cool to me. Feel like the sky. The night sky. I'm not even done putting on the sparkles and stars yet. It's gonna be the final touch. I'm gonna come back when I'm finished all of that. Let me know what you think. Starting day. Radio. So entertaining to watch, for real, and the best effort for aesthetics, in my opinion. So far. Here's the BTS of me taking pictures with the finished cardigan. Yeah, the inside looks crazy, but it actually looks so fun. After adding all the sparkles, the inside just makes more sense. Where's the opening? Oh, there it is. You can't tell. I'm so excited to wear this out today. Y'all, this is the first day I've ever planned to actually take the bus. Maybe that sounds a little bit spoiled, but I've either always driven or been driven. I just never needed to really take the bus. But today, I just feel like it. Woke up and I was like, I feel very clarified. I don't want to overdo anything. I just want to be. But I also want to be out of the house. I've just been inside the last 4 days. I just want a fresher. This is a really good outfit to wear with it. It's just all black. Today's an all black day. Get it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Box. I'm actually in love. The only place I didn't rainbow sparkles all over was like the front sleeve here. One spot to kind of not be so overwhelming. So it's the front of the sleeves. The back. Yeah, I know this one has way more. I did this one first. I should have looked to see how I did it, because after I got like this all the way here, I was like, oh, I really outdid this side. That's okay. I'm gonna just assume it's because I'm left-handed and that's why I did that. This is the left arm. I'm in love. In love. I'm excited to add buttons. It'd be cute if this closed. It'd be cute. At the same time, I'm okay with it open for now. I'm planning to put buttons on this and my other cardigan at the same time. I'm not in a rush to do that. I don't mind that they're both open right now. The only reason why I want to put buttons on the other one is because it's a little bit, it naturally falls back like this. Constantly like do this. And I don't like that. I didn't make the front panels long enough to pull the weight forward. This one I definitely made sure I did that. Cinched really far at the back. I made the back panel longer than the front, but I kind of wanted that cinch in thing anyways. So we're good. Take a break from cardigans though. Fucked up there. Oh shit, can I see it on camera too? Okay, you can't see it from afar. I accidentally missed a whole hole, so I'm gonna fix that eventually. You know what made me feel really good? When I gave my blanket away to Tina, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, there's like some parts that are like sticking out and there's an open gap here and there. And she's like, you know what? Actually appreciate mistakes when you weave, because it shows first you're human. It's part of the uniqueness of it. It shows learning experience, which I love, because I am a beginner. I don't want to already make everything so perfect, because that just makes it feel like I'm always gonna have really high expectations for myself when it comes to my crochet, and I don't want to. I want this to be a fun hobby for me, where I just learn along the way. The clothes that I learn along the way, even if there's, like, I could see myself still wearing this, even though I know, like, there's a hole here, there's like something I'm not gonna show over there. It doesn't bother me. It does add character to me. So when she actually said that, it felt very reassuring and true. I'm gonna take pictures now, and I'm gonna go to the bus.